everyone, my name is Raina Saxena and welcome back to my channel. Even though I have posted a few videos before, this will be my first video that I'll be speaking face to face. So today's video is actually about my publishing story. Just to give a little bit of background, I am the author of this book right here, which is Amidst the Downpour. And this video is actually going to be about my publishing story. That's going to be more about an insight on how I published my book, why did I decide to do it, how did I do it, and what are few tips that I could also give as newbie author to everyone who's even thinking of publishing their content. So let's begin with why I wanted to publish my book and what is this book about in the first place. So I have been writing poems since I was in 4th grade, and it was something that I love to do. It was basically an outbreak of my thoughts on paper, and it would be amazing, that you could use something that you like to do into giving a creative product like a poetry. So I've been doing that since 4th grade. And recently in 2020 itself, I thought, why not compile all the poems that I've written till now and see maybe how many are they and what have I seen and what have I written in the past years, because I usually wouldn't go through the poem after writing it, like the final look, and then I wouldn't look at it ever again. So I decided to do that, and it turned out that I had written around 80 poems, and that was very surprising for me because some poems were in my book, some were in the Word document that I had made for my poems. So when I compiled all of them together, it came out to be 80 poems, which is very surprising for me as well, because even though I knew that I'd written quite a number of poems, I never thought it would be more than 50 or even 30 for that instance. So that's how it was, and then I started sending out my poems for competitions and blogs and everything, and then I was contacted by a few publishers in case I wanted to publish my book on it. And publishing my own book was something that I've always wanted to do, something my mom has encouraged me to do as well since a long time. Since maybe I was in 5th, we've been talking about it. Reason being that I've always dreamt of, giving all my poems a secure place in a book, and more importantly, just letting them all out for other readers to read. I feel like keeping your art confined to yourself is just not it. You need to let it go, let it spread to others as well, impact others in some or other ways. That is what I hope to do with this book as well. That is that in some way or the other, maybe if I can brighten someone's day with my poems, or maybe send across the right message at the right time to someone when they're reading it. So that is something that I really hope to do with the messages of the poems, or it is the illustrations, like that. So that is something, just a little background on why I wanted to publish my own book. Now, the tip number 1 that I would like to give all of you is always, always, if you, to be honest, I did not self-publish my book, so I wouldn't be able to give any tips on that. So if that's what you're looking forward to seeing in this video, I'm really sorry. I cannot provide any tips on that because I don't have a lot of expertise in that area, but I can help you in just the process, maybe, if that's what you're looking for. Basically, tip number 1 that I'd like to give is always research on the kind of publications you're choosing for your book. Just a little background, what teams they have, how can they help you in your entire process, and what will their involvement be. If you are able to discuss that with your publishers much before you sign an agreement with them, then that is really going to help you throughout the process in terms of what you're expecting from your publishers, or what involvement they'll have in this process. So that'll just clear out the roles, that what is to be done by you and what is to be done by them. Unfortunately, when I was publishing my book, that was something that I had not done, and we chose publishers out of family influences. Someone in my family had published with them, and therefore we thought it would be a safe option to go with them because they'd already been tried on. So we went with that, and around the time where I was compiling, editing and designing my book was also a time where I had academic deadlines to meet. I had like a test every week, so it became really hard for me to work on the book as well as study for the tests and score good at them, because they were really important they were going to be added on to my entire percentage. So it really did matter to me as well. So I couldn't have just left on the tests, and that's how it was. And then basically we didn't do the research, so it became a lot more harder for me as a person to deal with the publishers, because I, as a newbie person who's going to publish her book, didn't have any idea of what role does the publisher have in this. So when you'll get to know on later that I hopped on to another publishers, and that is when I noticed the difference. So what didn't work out with my publisher was that a lot of things such as font and the compiling of the script, or even the final editing of the script, or maybe the placement of the text on the document, that is the Word document, all of that is actually, I had predicted there would be some involvement of the publisher in that. Unfortunately, during that time, our publisher did not pick up our calls. He didn't really involve in a lot of the process. He'd call us back at a time, maybe late at 10 o'clock in the night, where nothing else could be done. So, what I wanted for, sorry for the disturbance, but what I wanted for my book was that I wanted to incorporate other forms of art in it as well. And by other forms of art, I mean illustrations that, highlight the message of the poem, and just calligraphy. I feel like calligraphy is a form of art itself. It just brings so much more beauty to the book, and I, as a reader, I really look forward to reading a beautiful book. Of course, I believe that the content of the book that matters the most. When you're publishing a book, the content matters the most, but sometimes we also tend to get influenced by the cover or the designing or the fonts, and I am that kind of person. I love content. I'd love to the reason I buy a book is for content. But yeah, if the book is beautiful and it has a good cover design and a hard cover or maybe a soft one, then it does really make me a lot more happier. So I wanted that for my readers as well. So basically, dealing with the illustrators, signing agreements with them, and the calligraphers, and everything like that became very hectic for me as a person, because I had to do it all. Everything was just on me, and I think that was something that was not okay by me at that time, because I really wanted the publisher's help. For example, if we'd ask them for, maybe, what are some fonts, could you please send us a few fonts that you'll be using, and we'll select out of them. And has the compiling started or editing started, and this is the series or the order of my poems, have they been arranged? So there would not be much response from his side, and most of the time there were more excuses. So I would say having a good publisher really does make a great impact on the entire compiling process of your book. So do your research. As I've always said, do your research on the publisher. Make sure they meet your expectations. Make sure that they also don't believe in just confining your book to the script, because mm, my publisher also complained about the fact that I had a lot of involvement in the book, which was really shocking to me as well. And I say this from personal experience, because he told my mom that, it's becoming really hard for us because you're a lot involved in this process than you should be. And to be honest, that wasn't very acceptable to me, because at the end of the day, it's my book, and I would want it to be perfect. Anyone wants their book to be perfect, right? So have a good talk with your publisher that you're choosing. Let them know what you want for your book and how do you want it to be, and will they be able to do it for you, or if they have any objections in this, could they suggest you. So entire thing. And other involvements of the publisher goes with the pricing of the book, or how the pricing would rise with what material you look forward to, or the thickness of the paper. Even these are very minute details that you have to deal with when you come after the compiling process. You come to the just arranging the content, right? So I think that aftermath of the compiling process is very hard as well, where having a right publisher would really ease the process for you. The second thing would be, if you are thinking to incorporate any illustrations or calligraphy in your book, then again, first of all, create an agreement, sign an agreement, NDA, with them. But at the same time, this is something that I wasn't really aware of, was that created a lot of conflict between me and the calligrapher or the illustrator, was the fact that where would their credits go. So I would recommend, with the signing of the NDA and everything else that you would do, also talk to them comfortably about, where would you want your credits to go, on the cover, or maybe sometimes, for example, most of the times they're over here. We asked them where would they want it to be, and suppose they come right here on almost the third page of your book. So we weren't really aware of that, and that is something they didn't tell us, that they were not comfortable with having the credits in the back, where we decided we'd give a page to credits and everything. So that created a lot of conflict with me and them as well. That made the entire process that should be aided with coordination and support, really hard for us. But at the end of the day, we asked them, why are you so uncomfortable, and is there anything that we can do to help you? And they were like, no, actually we want our credits to go here. That was the only reason we weren't able to convey that to you. And I think after that, the things went pretty well. So have a talk with them, make them feel comfortable about wherever they want their credits to go. If you want other things, that is just the pricing or how much they'll cost you for that. Then another thing is, if you're going for illustrations, then know that the cost of black and white illustrations, colored illustrations, line diagrams, they vary a lot. I think another problem that was there in my publishing process, was that it had become really hard for me. Actually, my illustrator, and as I said, there was a little conflict between us because of the credit scenario as well. So there was a lot of times that, they said that they couldn't do it anymore, or maybe we should look forward to other illustrators, which was really hard for us at that time, because we were already working on deadlines and I had tests and everything going on. So just completely looking for another illustrator, having a discussion with them on the vision of your book, became really hard for us as well. So whenever you are dealing with an illustrator, let them know, have a clear good talk with them, a long one in fact, about all that you want in the book, and if they again can meet your expectations, because that is very important as well. Then another thing that I would suggest you is, if you are looking forward to a publisher, then ask them about the teams they have. For example, the second publishers that I went to was Blue Rose Publications, and as I said, in contrast to the first publishers, we ultimately broke our agreement with them. We couldn't work with them anymore because it became really hard for us to communicate with the person. Then we shifted to Blue Rose Publishers, and they actually had separate teams for everything. So we were assigned different people for different roles, and that really aided my process, whether it was editing, or whether it was deciding the price of the book, the thickness of the paper. If you're a person like me, then even the thickness of paper, the thickness of the cover design, the colors, the centrally placed text, or right or left placed text would really matter to you as well. So I think keep that vision in mind, and keep that in your mind for a longer time, and know where you want to place your text. That is as important as having the content. The designing of the book is very important. Very important. So the third tip that I would like to give would be that give designing of the book an equal importance with the content as well, because that really influences the way your readers read your book. So that is it for today. I would love to do more videos about my book. So if there is anything that you'd want to ask me, or if there's anything that you'd want me to cover up in my videos, then please suggest me in the comments. And thank you so much for watching this video. I had a great time making it, and thank you. If you've liked the video, then please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thank you.